Welcome to the player2.net.au video review of Superbeat XONiC for the PS Vita. The PlayStation Vita seems to have inherited a legacy from the PSP. I don't mean its abandonment by Sony, but its place as one of the best platforms for rhythm game players. With competitors like the Project Diva series, IAVT Colourful, Persona 4 Dancing All Night, Citus Lambda and DJ Max Technica Tune, you might be wondering how Superbeat shapes up against these competitors. Hopefully this review will shed some light on that question. Without a doubt, the most important part of a rhythm game is the music. A lackluster track list is a mark against any rhythm title, as no amount of visual polish or rewarding gameplay can make up for lousy tunes in this genre. Superbeat manages to provide tracks from a variety of genres by previous DJ Max artists like M2U, Third Coast and Nien, as well as some newcomers. DLC track support has already been announced, but how much mileage you get out of Superbeat really comes down to your enjoyment of J-pop and K-pop, which makes up the overwhelming majority of the 45 plus track list. In case you hadn't already noticed from the video, Superbeat is fairly light on the visual content when compared to many of its contemporaries. Rather than elaborate dance numbers performed by Vocaloids or anime FMV, the background during a track is a fairly low-key visualization. While this removes the wow factor that other titles might have for spectators, I found it allowed further focus on the gameplay aspects, specifically the new control system which ditches both DJ Max's traditional horizontal highway approach, as well as Technica Tune's dedicated touchscreen input, for a hybrid that took some getting used to. Notes moving in an outward vertical fashion isn't something I'm familiar with, although I have to say I think it's superior to the way competitors like Project Diva handle input. Superbeat allows the use of the front and back touchscreens or buttons to play. Playing on a PS TV, I can't comment on the effectiveness of the touchscreen controls, but the button input served me just fine during my time with the game. Superbeat differentiates its note inputs in a few ways, with some different enough that they required some time to adjust. The standard press and hold note types are the bread and butter of the lowest track difficulties. As the challenge level increases, more complex inputs are expected, which involve the analog sticks. These can be in the form of a sharp directional movement, seen here as the yellow notes with an up or down arrow, or a slow tilt of the analog stick, which is denoted by the red lines. Clearly following on from the trace notes found in Technica Tune, mirroring the movement of the red lines seems simple enough until it's required in combination with other inputs. I did have a few issues with the controls. The first was simply due to playing on a PS TV. Occasionally when trying to hit the analog notes, I'd accidentally press the stick, in which, on the PS TV, tells the system you want the analog stick to simulate the touch interface. Not very handy for completing difficult song sections or clearing mission requirements. This was easily remedied by switching some settings around. The second issue was minor, but I think it could be something that affects newcomers to the game. When playing 4 tracks mode, up, left and right on the D-pad and circle, square and triangle all count for the top note on either side of the screen, while down and X are the only buttons that register the lower notes. What I think would have been more intuitive would have involved up and triangle taking the higher notes, while left and circle took the lower notes. This could just be my DJ Max wide brain attempting to make sense of a new control scheme though. DJ Max's Fever system lives on in Superbeat, although it too has had a makeover. Rather than pressing a button to activate Fever mode, it engages automatically when the meter is full, and will continue until a note is missed. This removes a certain amount of strategy found in the DJ Max series, which would often involve missions that could only be completed by activating the Fever meter at certain intervals. In addition, Fever no longer works as a multiplier, instead adding to the overall score. While this may be essentially how it functioned behind the scenes in DJ Max games, having the multiplier appear on the screen and seeing your combo level rise exponentially was always rewarding. There are 2 main methods of play in Superbeat: Stage mode, functioning here as the arcade mode, and World Tour mode, which is comprised of 14 clubs. Each club area offers 3 preset track lists with conditions and modifiers placed on them, from achieving a certain combo count to notes only fading into view at the last second. There are over 40 missions in Superbeat, enough to keep even skilled players busy for hours. I do hope the developers are looking into continuing the season concept Pentavision introduced in DJ Max Classic and Black Square though. This involved large patches that overhauled song patterns and more than doubled the playtime with reordered missions and tweaked requirements. One thing I did notice was that the skill level required in some of the missions doesn't really gel with the playtime up to the point that they unlock. Even as a long-time player, throwing a fade-in modifier at players on the second club is a steep learning curve. I highly recommend beginners spend some time in Stage Mode's freestyle area, in which all unlocked songs can be played independent of a track list. As the closest thing to a DJ Max game on the PS Vita since Technica Tune, I recommend Superbeat for any rhythm fan. For newcomers, a steep learning curve will require dedication to get over, but the payoff can be very rewarding if you enjoy visible, steady improvement in a game rather than a linear experience.
Yeah. Alright. Third coast. Let's go.
Superbeat XONiC was reviewed on a PS TV using a digital download provided by publisher PM Studios.